Everyone says that the S&P 500 is the holy grail for ETFs. But what if I told you I have four that are outpacing it, some by more than double digits? In this video, that's exactly what we're going to break down. I'm going to show you these four ETFs that have been outperforming the S&P 500. That does not mean they always will, but they are more sector-based ETFs, and the growth for these has been absolutely outstanding. If you don't know who I am, my name is Spencer. I talk about ETFs online, and I absolutely love investing. I've been doing it for over 8 years. My portfolio sits at over $50,000 invested. So I hope you guys do enjoy. Let me know if you own any of these or if you're considering any of these ETFs down below, and let's check them out. Ticker UFO. Perfectly named, it's the Procure Space ETF. And I just did a full video breakdown on this one, so I'm not going to throw too many details at you. It's got a decent expense ratio, 0.75, a little bit high, but it has 53 holdings. Now, this thing has been running for quite a long time. It was up 70% in 2025, well outpacing the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and the Russell 2000. But there's more going on behind the scenes that a lot of people are not paying attention to. We had record space launches last year. The exact number, we had 329 rocket launches and a 98% success rate, which is absolutely amazing. 98% did reach orbit. On top of that, UFO has been moving because of the SpaceX IPO. If you didn't know, Elon Musk is launching the SpaceX IPO, and I believe they've already acquired what? They own Starlink now at this point, and even X, all under the same umbrella, and this company is going to be massive. If you don't know me, I absolutely love Tesla. I've been an investor for a long time. It's probably the most profitable stock that I have ever traded over and over and over again because I love to swing trade it. So SpaceX is going to change a lot when it comes to, of course, the space sector, but a lot of these other UFO type ETFs like NASA is another one. So UFO, again, I won't go too far into the details. It's very, very solid. At the end, I'm going to throw all of these up on a chart and we'll see how they compare to the S&P 500. And then we'll look at the top holdings and see if there's any overlap because I'm really big on diversification. You don't want to have 5 ETFs that all have the top 10 same holdings because then you're really just holding those top 10 stocks. And that can really be dangerous if we do see a major pullback. So while I am showing you some sectors that are outperforming the S&P 500, I, as an investor, have more money in the S&P and the NASDAQ combined than I will in any of these individual sectors. That's just how I like to invest. You can do what you want to. And again, I've been missing out on some gains by not allocating more, but I am happy with my portfolio and I'm curious what you guys think. Are these super risky or are these safe for the long term? Now we'll check out our next ETF. The results speak for themselves. UFO is up 157.37%. For those that are maybe new to investing, the S&P averages between 8 and 12% if you backtest it for about 30 plus years. So UFO has been severely outperforming the S&P 500. And I do own this ETF and I did catch this last run, which I've been very happy about. If we zoom out though, you can see the S&P outperformed it for a number of years. And in fact, UFO was actually in the red from 2021 all the way through until late 2024 when it started to move upwards again. So that's what happens. Everything may look great in the back test, but if you zoom out a little bit more, you have to look at the bigger picture. This sector is hot right now. It hasn't always been. Is it cyclical? Are things happening like we're seeing with these new launches with SpaceX that are impacting the overall price performance? 100%. So you can't simply buy this ETF and say UFO is going to outperform SPY forever. We don't know what's going to happen. That being said, I do own it, and I absolutely like the space sector for AI for any number of reasons. Satellite demand on top of all of that. So I hope you guys are at least somewhat interested in the next 3. We're going to cover all different sectors. So next, we're going to start off with nukes. NUKZ or NUKZ is the range nuclear ETF. And this one is very, very interesting to me because it's an off play of the AI boom. But you're not directly tied to just AI because energy itself is going to be more and more in demand as time goes on. That's my opinion anyways. So this ETF is designed to provide exposure to companies that are involved in the following segments: advanced reactors, utilities, constructions and services, and fuel. So what this means is you're not just getting specific energy exposure. You're getting exposure to the small offset companies that will also see a boom if AI energy demand continues. And that's why I like nukes. That and, of course, the performance. This thing has been absolutely amazing. If you don't know my background, I am a biologist full-time. So nuclear energy is the cleanest. It is the best. It's better than solar. It's better than wind by far. It is the best. And so they will, in my opinion, they will continue to utilize nuclear as it is the cleanest as well. So it's environmentally better on top of all of that. So nukes, you can see there's a bunch of information. You guys check all of these out if you are interested. It's pretty large. It's got almost 900 million in net assets or in AUM. And we can see the expense ratio is pretty high, 0.85%, 46 holdings total. Now, what's interesting with these is holdings. You guys can check these out, of course. What's interesting, though, is the expense ratios for these ETFs are there for a reason. It's not just for them to make a ton of money, although some of these companies will gouge you with the expense ratios. They are reconfiguring these ETFs as time goes on. So you could look at this and just go, it's 40 holdings, I'll buy the top 20, and there you go. And you could do that. But what NUKZ is going to do is they're going to reallocate. So let's say one of the holdings does really well and one does really poorly. They will sell off the portion of one that is doing extremely well, and they will rebalance it to the one that is not doing as well. So you're getting, you can be capped on upside, especially if one is going to run like mad, but your downside risk is also offset. Plus, you're in the ETF wrapper, which makes it much more tax friendly. So big names in this company, but let's go ahead and check out the chart and see how it compares to our other two ETFs. It definitely pales in comparison to UFO, but NUKZ is up 53.30%. This one has not run as much and is actually down from the all-time highs where it was trading at $72. It's bounced around there a couple of times, 76 as the high actually, but still pulled back slightly. This is when I like to add on dips. It does dip. It is not like UFO that just continues to run like mad. It is a little bit of a safer play for me, and it's a long-term hold. UFO, I would sell out of. This is not financial advice. I would sell out of if something happened with SpaceX, if they took up all the liquidity in the market and everyone pulled money out of UFO or these specific ETFs, even though UFO will likely hold SpaceX. If something happened with the space sector, there was a pullback, I would consider no longer holding it. I think long-term it will work, but I could buy back in on a dip. When it comes to nuclear energy, I'm much more bullish and long-term on it. I don't think it will ever have the performance that we've seen with UFO, but I think it will continue to outperform the S&P 500 as long as energy demand remains constant. Either way, these are both doing phenomenally well. NUKZ is up 53.3%. It's up 23% more than the S&P 500 on the 1 year. And if we zoom out, if we go to the max chart, we can see NUKZ does come close to UFO, but still hasn't run quite as much in the last couple of months. Now, UFO, again, I think it's riskier, but the performance does speak for itself. But these are only two. We have two more ETFs to touch on. These ones are somewhat risky and very, very different than the two we've touched on so far. But if you guys are enjoying this video, if you want to learn more about other ETFs that are outperforming the S&P 500, don't forget to like and subscribe. Helps me out a ton, and you won't miss another update. Now we'll check out SOXX. SOXX. I've talked about other semiconductor ETFs like SMH, and you guys know that they have just been going ballistic. And it doesn't look like they're going to slow down anytime soon, although they can't keep up this pace indefinitely. So remember that. We are in a bit of a super cycle when it comes to AI, and thus chips and memory are going absolutely nuts. This one, though, is amazing. $36 billion in AUM. A very low expense ratio of 0.34%. Compared to the other two, it's half the cost to hold this one, which I think is really important. And iShares is a very commendable, very reputable company. So SOXX, it's the semiconductor ETF, which again is different. So far, what have we covered? We covered nuclear power, we covered space, and now we're covering semiconductors, which of course, I like having a portion of my portfolio with semiconductors. They're utilized almost everywhere, and the market is growing. Listen to this. So the AI infrastructure spending is projected to drive global semiconductor sales to $975 billion with a B, dollars in 2026, with generative AI chips alone nearing $500 billion, half the industry revenue from these chips. That being said, eventually, supply will meet demand. It might be 5 years from now. It might be 5 months from now. I'm not an expert on it. I'm just showcasing you the ETFs you can use to get a little bit of the performance of the underlying assets. The hyperscale CapEx explosion is another big factor. Everything is just pushing AI. The GPUs, the memory, all these chips, there's just crazy demand for them. And until supply catches up, we could see these continue to run massively. Now, I absolutely love a lot of the companies that are held within SOXX. We're going to look at those again on stock analysis, but the performance of this one also just speaks for itself. The small distribution pays out quarterly, not the focus. These are all growth ETFs, and the performance, again, compared to SPY, is something you'll want to look at. SOXX is actually outpacing UFO on the 1 year, but it is very, very close, less than 3% apart. Now, I mean, if you held SOXX and UFO for the last year, you are sitting pretty in your portfolio. These things have had amazing performances. Nukes still solid, 53%. I'm never going to complain, especially because I do see it as a safer play. So when you throw all of these into a portfolio, diversification, of course, is going to be important. A lot of you may select SMH over SOXX, and that's 100% okay. If it meets your criteria for what you're looking for, I love that. Usually, if I can't decide between two, I'll split the money in between both of them in my portfolio and track whichever one does better, or go with the cheaper option with that expense ratio. So you guys, I want to mention again, the S&P 500 typically gets that 8 to 12%. We are seeing a good run for the S&P during this time because if you zoom out a little bit more, we did see that pullback early in 2025. Now, looking at the 3-year chart, we can see that SOXX is the best performer. It is up nearly 300%, 271% compared to 240 by UFO, 184 by Nukes, and 85% by SPY. There are so many of these ETFs that no one really seems to talk about. I also love SPMO. I've done a number of videos on that. You have VOOG by Vanguard. You have so many different ETFs that we don't really seem to cover. But even if they aren't doing 200% in the last 3 years, even if they're doing 80% or 90%, these are still market outperformers. And if you're looking for diversification, even if they're risky, some of these have had phenomenal runs. So our first 3 are already tagged. We have one more, though, that I'm going to bring up by Roundhill. And no, it's not the one you're thinking of. We're not including DRAM. It's another Roundhill ETF that I think is definitely undervalued, underrated. People don't seem to talk about it nearly as much, and that is CHAT, the Roundhill Generative AI and Tech ETF. Now, I know Roundhill primarily from my main channel, Spencer Invest, where I talk about dividend investing or income-focused investing with ETFs. And they have a ton of weekly paying and monthly paying dividend ETFs. But they're not nearly as popular as some of these thematic ETFs, and they haven't been performing as well. I will say some of them that focus on like AMD have been doing really, really well. But when it comes to chat, I love the fact that they have thematic and income. The top 5 holdings, though, take note of this: Alphabet, Nvidia, Minimax, Microsoft, and ZAI, which I just don't like being overly exposed. It seems like Nvidia is the literal largest position in most of these ETFs. And again, we'll look at that in just a moment, thanks to stock analysis. Now, Roundhill believes that generative AI or artificial intelligence will be one of the most impactful technological innovations in the coming decades. So they're not even just playing it short. They're not saying in the next year, they're saying decades, driving productivity and growth across the global economy. The Roundhill Generative AI and Tech ETF, Chat is the world's first generative AI ETF. Chat is actively managed ETF, of course. So they are doing, of course, the rebalancing. Most of these, I believe all of them are actively managed, meaning you're going to have more of a fee because they are rebalancing. And they give you a number of reasons: the AI revolution, the economic impact, rapid adoption of ChatGPT, of all these different ones. The only thing that's not in here would be Anthropic because it's not publicly traded. And I actually do technically prefer Anthropic to ChatGPT. I think a lot of people are starting to agree with that. So it's interesting. I love the AI space. I think it's really crazy what we're able to do. And of course, I use it for the channels, but I think some of these are a little bit overly inflated. A lot of these companies like Microsoft, they're putting a lot of money into Copilot, their AI, and it's just not producing the income that they were anticipating. That being said, Nvidia and I think ChatGPT isn't profitable either, but I think it's also private technically. Now, the expense ratio is high, 0.75%, but the AUM is massive, almost 2 billion, 1.85 billion. Not as big as SOXX, but still very, very solid. And so this one may have more overlap. We're going to have to see how many of these ETFs do hold just Nvidia as the top company. But I want to showcase, not a lot of people are talking about this, at least from what I've seen on the YouTube space. So let's see how Chat compares to our other 4 ETFs. Very, very solid. It is not the top performer, but it's really, really outperforming both Nukes and the S&P 500. It's up 121%. If we zoom out again on the 3-year, though, it is one of the top performers, outperforming UFO even. So this chart should be very important. I love the S&P 500. I am not knocking it by any means necessary. It is the base of my portfolio, like I already stated. But there are other ETFs you can use to bolster your portfolio. And while in this one I am showing you ones that have gone up, there are many that also have gone down depending on the sector. So you have to be careful and choose wisely. Now, I want to also shout out Stock Analysis, the tool that I use to research stocks, companies, ETFs, and everything in between. There's a number of features here, and I am a pro member. Now, I'm also an affiliate. So if you use my link down below and the discount code Spencer20, you can get 1 free month and 20% off the annual membership, which it's so much cheaper than a lot of the competing softwares in this space. It's why I love Stock Analysis. And of course, I mean, the chart is just a thing of beauty. But another key factor, we're going to scroll down here. I'm going to show you guys more. It'll give you the average return. It'll give you a lot of data, but I want to showcase the top 25 holdings. I'm going to zoom out a little bit here, and we can see with SPY, with UFO, and with NUKZ, different holdings at the top. Of course, this one's nuclear, this one's space. There shouldn't be a lot of overlap, but sometimes there's more overlap than you would expect. Within the top 25 of the S&P, you're going to see, of course, the Mag 7, which are in absolutely everything. But if we scroll down and slide, we can actually see our other two ETFs. So we have SOXX, which has MU, AMD, Broadcom, INTC, NVIDIA. So SOXX does have a lot of overlap with the S&P 500. No surprise there. Chat as well. NVIDIA, Google, SK Hynix, which you cannot buy just outright as a company. You have to purchase that within an ETF. AMD, MU. So there is some carryover. Chat, SOXX, and even UFO did have a bit of carryover. And that's really important. I only showcase this. It's not necessarily a downside. I'm showcasing this so you understand that when you invest in these ETFs, you're just investing in pieces of all these different companies. NVIDIA is nearly 7% in chat. That's a lot. If you have, the S&P where it's, let's check. What percentage is NVIDIA in the S&P 500? It is 8%. So you may think you're more diversified than you actually are. But I just wanted to showcase there are ETFs that can outperform the S&P 500. If you guys like this video, if you found it informative or useful, don't forget to like and subscribe, and use my link down below to get yourself a free month. I absolutely love free things. You can even sign up and then technically cancel after the trial. Very, very simple. Let me know what you guys think. As always, I appreciate you. If you like this video, check this video out popping up on your screen right now about DRAM, the next ETF that I think will be the best performer for 2026.